So again, good evening to all of you, and thank you for joining me tonight for our discussions. So this was our lesson, which is already midterm and under conducting research. So this conducting research is we already talked about, and we have the recorded videos posted already here about the sample protocols. And last time we also discussed about experimental na statistics and also software, sample software. And also sample protocol ng sa qualitative. So I guess we have end up on qualitative, no, ito. And we discussed about the different parts na of a review paper, which is the main part of your paper. Although this is ito proposal ito na hindi pala, sorry. This is not a review paper. This is a qualitative research. Okay, sorry for that. So let me just get a screenshot before we proceed. So again, going back to this one, klaro ba sa inyo? Okay. So for the survey instrument, we all know we already have research methods, no, aside from the introduction, the abstract. In this case, this is still a proposal, so wala munang abstract and also results. So we only had introduction and also the rationale and the review of literature. And it's all right, baby girl. And also under research methods, we have, as I have said last time, we're going to make use of primary and secondary data, which means that primary data belongs to the interviews that you're going to conduct by yourselves. And secondary data are the data that you're going to research from different books, internets, and other sources. So like the primary data will be gathered from the tour, in this case, will be from the tourists and farmers through field surveys and interviews. While secondary data, such as the total rural and farming population, will be collected from the Bureau of Statistics, and the data will be analyzed using simple descriptive techniques, t-tests, and principal component analysis and regression analysis, which is already on the yung link na binigay ko in statistics in here, experimental statistics. So if you're going, these are under this chapter is design and analysis of experiments, but when you click this one, so you will be directed to the table of contents. So you can go back to your basic statistics. What are this? And ito. In here are the regression analysis. Okay, so we will not really actually kasi what's important in statistic is that you understand its functions and the meaning of each of these terms and what are these different sampling techniques. So we basically do the random sampling, no? And why they had to do the sampling anyway, and it's just like a dictionary that you cannot memorize all the words and the terms. Maybe you are familiar with some but not really all, so you always had to have this book by your side always, no, para siyang dictionary. So going back here in the survey instrument, so it states here a structured survey questionnaire. Structured siya kasi meron ding open kasi limited lang yung questions. Your question is not anything na gustong, like when you say, when you do an interview and when you do like in other social researches, no, when you go to some places like you've never been before in a very remote village, por favor. So and then you don't know your topic yet, so it's open. Tindog like mura kasi ko on spirit. So but then if it's structured, meron ka ng list of topics that you want to interview or knowledge that you want to get from that community. Like, for example, yung kanilang farming, yung kanilang culture, and so on. But then, if for example, if it's open, it's not structured, you will just decide kung anong, para kayo nag-consultation. So what topic do you want to talk about? Like, when you go, bakit ba ito yung naisip ko? Like when I have seen a lot of news feeds, no, regarding the effect of pandemic on, for example, sorry, but ito lang yung but maybe I'll change my mind. Let's say to the effect of pandemic sa mga teenagers or to the young people. So something like that. And that's very general kasi like when you go to a specific person, you don't know yet kung ano ang klaseng, it's very specific. So you don't know yet what kind of sharing yung gusto nila. So that's unstructured. And since it's a structured survey questionnaire, this work is consist of open-ended and closed questions. So when you say open-ended, like what is your name? What do you think about the pandemic or the situation now? And if it's closed question, it's only answerable by yes or no. Like, are you a female or male? Are you married? Or yes or no lang. And then for this farmer survey, we'll be focused on topics such as, since this is structured, characteristic of the agritourism operations, and so on, and the reasons for developing or evolution of agritourism component in the farm operation, including challenges encountered when starting agritourism, such as access to capital, right to farm issues, liability concerns, neighbor complaints, and so on. And the sources of information used to develop agritourism activities are marketing, promotion, plans, and so on and so on. And this is based by an author. And the tourist questionnaire will compose of standard demographic questions. When we say demographic questions, it's about the community level, like how old are they, and how many are they in the family, and something like those. Such as the sex, age, country origin, travel information, and so on. So these are the activities. And here, tourists will rate given attributes on a 5-point importance Likert scale, where 1 is not important at all and 5 is very important. So meron siyang mga questionnaire na naka-rate siya from 1 to 5, from not important to very important. Like we say, is the reason for tourism is for only for leisure? So they will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, whether depends on them. And there will be a pre-test of the survey instrument before it will be conducted to the selected. Before it will be conducted, and it will be conducted among selected students. So mag-trial ka muna kasi like you don't know if ano yung effect or so yung outcome. So para siyang ano ganyan tawag doon? Dry run. no? Parang nag-dry run ka muna ng mga exams or ng activities. So lastly, the sample selection. Ito yung what I've been mentioning about sampling techniques. So in the selection, you can state here an initial list of farmers who offered agritourism activities are identified, from an agency like the Ministry of Agriculture in Samoa or the Tourism Authority in Samoa and selected for survey using purposive sampling. So, ang ginamit dito is purposive sampling. It means my purpose, no? We interviewed the Ministry of Agriculture or the farmers, the specific farmers, for this purpose. And data from tourists will be collected at 2 international airports since Samoa is a very small country and they have only 2 international airports. So actually, ang laki ng Samoa is just the whole Davao City, no? So, ganun lang siya kalaki. In fact, you can tour around the country within a day. And over a 7-day period, interview by varying day of the week and time of the day to minimize systematic sample bias. So, even that, no, yung time frame is stated. Like in 1 week, talaga, we conducted the interview. And we scheduled kung ano yung mauuna, which agency and which farmer. And it should be varied enough para walang bias. Like, mauuna tayo sa Department of Agriculture kasi or sa Ministry of Agriculture sa kanila. Or mauuna tayo sa farm ni ganito ganon kasi ang lahat ng information nasa kanila na. And then after that, let's say, after 1 week, na-exhaust kasi talaga, we've done the interview for 1 week since Dr. Spratt is just from other Pacific Island country, which is Fiji. So his time is only limited. Although I stayed in Samoa the whole time, but then we have to be together during the interview. So we just make use of the 1 week time frame. So hindi pwedeng may bias in terms of selecting which comes and who comes first. So the ano talaga is based on the schedule is based on their availability. So that's enough na hindi mabias. And systematic sampling will be conducted by approaching every 5th person in and around the departure hall while waiting for their outbound flight. So this has not been done yet, but this was our plan na in the airport, ganun ha, pag-sampling mo, pipiliin mo pa yung 5th person. Hindi yung mauuna, hindi yung second, or depende, you can also say the second person will be interviewed. So, ganun yung systematic sampling. Then, random sampling na maski sino lang gusto mo, no? Ito na siya. Ito na interviewhan kay afam or uy, macho, no? Or guwapa. No? Hindi ganun. So, systematic siya. So it could be 5th, 10th person depending of course kung ilang tao. And although hindi ko na experience siya pero I've experienced that with my kids, no. They want to if you for me lang, no, the most siguro the best with my experience, not to be biased kasi in my own experience, and I have limited experience only. So in Singapore, they have for me the best airport in the world, but I have not been in the whole world pa. But then I've been to a lot of places also. So with my kids, so may nag-interview sa kay Alexa, yung youngest ko, and not all person are willing to be interviewed, like nagmamadali ka or something, no? So, what they did is, kasi naman nagkataon lang na, although ako yung in-interview nila, but then also all my kids were participated in the question, and they were given tokens, no? So something like that. And potential respondents will be initially screened to ensure they are tourists or not residents. Kasi naglaglaag lang dito or na-stranded na dahil sa airport, no? And the surveying method will be an interviewing assisted self-completed questionnaire. So although the questionnaire is dapat i-state mo whether yung 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 respondent ba, ibig sabihin yung i-interviewin mo, ang answer lang, like they will just check it or write it down, or merong assistance mo, no, or interviewing assistant, where the interviewers will distribute the paper-based survey to respondents and will complete the survey by themselves. And the interviewer will be available to answer queries and clarify anything that the respondents is unsure. On conclusion, the interviewer will collect the completed questionnaire and ensuring all answers are completed. Otherwise, if you're missing some of the question or if these are not applicable, so ano magagawa mo, no? So, but then if it is, baka may nakaligtaan, so sayang naman yung information. And we use SPSS software to analyze the data. Yung descriptive statistics yung tawag, whether regression analysis, t-test, yung ganun lang, no? So, have you been also being interviewed in some of your, if you have an experience, can you share a little bit? Any one of you would like to share an experience na interview mo just like sa product ba sa sabon or anything na na-interview mo? This comes actually with a lot of varieties, no? Sometimes we're just asked from just filling up on the link or Google form, something like that. No? Mga ganong questions. So anyway, if you don't have question anymore about qualitative research methods, then we will proceed. Anyway, you can ask question later, and if our 45-minute is due, so let's just go back to the same link for the discussion. I mean open forum. So we are done with conducting research already, and do not forget to go to the quiz and answer the question. No, and if you again have wrong answer, you can always go back to your question. For example, so although you have to click the finish quiz, but you still can try again the question. Okay, so that's it. So we will now go to the writing style before we proceed with the sample review paper and research paper and qualitative and sample EUP report. So for the writing style, you've been asking me kasi, ma'am, anong pipiliin ko, yung APA or MLA? So actually, those were known styles that are adopted by every journal. But then if it's better that you choose which journal, kung if ever for publication na siya, so just choose which journal and you just follow writing style lang pala ito. You just follow this is for the Annals of Tropical Research House Style, one of my favorite journal, and I have published also maybe 3 papers from this journal. So I still have a link on there. So if you just click on this, you'll be directed to their homepage. So ayan. So So there, you can see here yung scientific name, the genus of science. So depende yan ha sa journal. Kasi hindi, iba-iba ang mga journal. And like for example, ma-decline ka in this journal and then you really wanted to kasi hindi siya scope nila. So it's better first. So we have discussed this before, but we can still thoroughly discuss how to choose the journal. So in the journal, you should be acquainted well kung ano yung kanilang, sa homepage, kung ano ang kanilang scope. Kasi maybe they are for animals or maybe for social studies. And then your paper is about crops. So something like that. So in this case, meron silang under abbreviation, and the genus of the scientific name is spelled out the first time it appears and only initial use after. For example, yung Manihot esculenta in the first mention, like hindi naman talaga, like in the title dapat ma-mention naman yan. And then your abstract ma-mention yung full name, but in a paragraph, like in an introduction, within abstract, and then within introduction, and then within a subtopic of review of literature, and then within the discussion in a specific topic, the Manihot esculenta should be spelled out fully at the first mention, and then after M esculenta na lang siya, something like that. And measurements units, so these are the standard use: square meters, kilometer square, and HA for hectare. And for concentration, you use mole M cube or cubic per for mole per cubic meter, and mole kilogram per kilogram for mole kilogram. So kg -1. So ganyan, or gram per liter -1. So yun yung mga, and for currency, you should use PHP6 or something like this, or USD, Australian dollar, and so on. And for length, M lang gagamit nun for meter, cm for centimeter, and micrograms, and so on, no? Sa kanyang, you just take note of this following. And there are even more information here. So this is just sample of their writing style. And dapat i-italize mo yung word or terminology that appears in the paper for the first time, like also scientific name, something like that. And statistical symbols, you can use SD or P for P value, and or R. And then you don't need to italize the etc., the et al, and this vs, and so on. This all mga Greek letters, the sign, tan, and log. If you remember, sign, tan, again na siyang subject, geometry. And also punctuations, the use of punctuation. So for E. coli or Escherichia coli, you just use period. And I don't know what's ours, but Phaceae, Rastonia maybe. And my acronyms and abbreviations. And you use colon, for example, if you use example, 1 gram acetone, 1:1. So dito nagagamit ang colon. And double enclosures kapag when you use something, first the parentheses, I mean the open and close parentheses, and the this is, I think, bar, hyphen bar, whatever. So pag ganyan, to enclose within or inside the parentheses. Something like that. So yung table naman, meron siyang format, and hindi ko na i-detail, but I can show you the sample. And in the figures, meron din silang figure 1, figure 2 na format. Depende yan talaga sa sa format. So that's for writing style. Now we go to the sample review paper na ito talaga yung main requirement ninyo, what you're going to do. So I guess I have discussed this to you thoroughly, not really thoroughly, but a rundown lang. A rundown last time, tama ba ko? So I have co-authored with this is also my former boss in Samoa. And this is entitled a review on root crops processing for food security and health. Kasi meron kami pinipresent sa Fiji dalawa na processing, root crops processing for the first international root crops conference. So, and then we submit the paper for the publication. So as you can see here in the abstract, no, in doing the abstract, you have here to write down. So last time we already talked about, diba, kung ano ang dapat na sa abstract. But more so siya sa isang research paper. This is about review paper. Kaya in here, in this review paper, and mind you, as again, you're going to submit a review paper. Kaya, wait lang. Kaya you should take note of this one, no? Kasi ang inyong two main requirements, ika-apat yung PowerPoint, ay ika-tatlo pala. Ika-third yung is either PowerPoint or poster. So, in your abstract, it's stated here the summary na of what's inside your paper. But when you do the research paper, may I just review and research paper. Ayan. So when you do the research paper like this, in your abstract, nakalagay dito ang first, yung purpose or objectives, no? I'll just compare both para ma-discuss siya. And also, what are the methods you use and your treatments, of course, and how did you analyze the data? And what are the data? And then the results. So not necessarily you will have conclusion in your abstract. Most abstract will just give you a one paragraph form, especially if it's a review paper. Depende din sa journal na usually limited lang kasi ang abstract nasa 200 words. So in this case, marag 150 at ninyo are almost 200 din. So again, in your review paper, in a review paper naman, so you just state here a little bit of your introduction, a little bit of your result. Your result is, like tinanong ni Ivy last time, no, na anong meron sa review paper. So, in the review paper, you will have your abstract, introduction, and then the content, no, or the result of your paper. So, ano yung result? That is under, although wala siya nakabutang dito talaga na result because it's a review paper. So, we only have 10 minutes left. So, nakalagay dito, food security in the world and South Pacific. That's subtitle. So that's the first subtitle or topic mo. Then the second topic mo is root crop production in the world and South Pacific. So dalawa lang talaga siya na topic kasi hindi naman siya mahaba masyado na review paper. And most of the review paper have limited pages as well. No, pwede siyang wait a moment. Yeah, and the third topic pa pala is the nutritional value of root crops. Nakalimot na ko na. Kay dili ako nagsulat. But usually, I actually forgot na bungkag lagi siya. Kasi pag usually naka PDF. And then, pag transfer na ako, nabungkag na noon. So, Well, of course, I can forget, no, because I cannot memorize all the writings in the fourth tanawa ra good. And in the last subtopic is the health benefits of root crops. Because I'm proud to say that I have made actually a lot of paper publication, and that is I'm already going up to 50, but my target is 100. Charot. Charot lang, no? Ambisyosa kasi kay ko. But it's really my passion, no? Ganahan kaayo ko ganahan lang jud ko. Gipakita na ba ko nako sa inyo akong research gate? So kasi if you are planning, magipakita naman ako sa inyo last time. So if you're planning to be a writer, it's better to start earlier so you can log in your research gate or make an account in research gate. So you can see here, you have to work hard for this. This means that this is your what do you call that, huh? Actually, wala mo kabalo gani, but that's your citations. No, 11, it means 11 citations ako. Pero it means that it's your rate as a researcher. No, and you can see here overview how many. Yes, I have 47 research items already here, but I told you that I am up to 50 because they're still under review of the different journals. So you can see here some of my publications, and or if you want to know how I write, although I mostly co-authored most of these write-ups. Like this is my advisor before when I had my PhD in UPLB, and SciCat is just a random scientist who would just want to collaborate with me. And yeah, who else? Yeah, sa ganitong kuan. Kani siya marag daghan pud mi nag-collaborate ani. Sa BIS man ato ko na ko na kuan. So there are also publications like that I don't really write the whole paper itself, but they asked me to review the paper, and I became one of the authors. So sa beekeeping ata. So I'm also very interested with beekeeping, although I have not started in the farm yet. But I had a training before. Wait lang. Nako ginapangita ba na project, but then di na ako makita na ako'y co-author na gi-appeal ko nila sa ilang pollinator sanctuary ata. Yes, this one. Traditional and novel proposals. You can see that the Mr. Piman Sandy is just one of my collaborators together with SciCap in this traditional and novel proposals for protection of endangered pollinating insects na paper. So anyway, going back here, since we have limited times, so ito yung mga subtopics, no? So as I have said, that should be, as you can see, ang liit lang ng abstract. So ano ang findings or ano ang gusto kong ipahiwatig, no? So I have stated here that we are already 7.3 billions around the world. However, there are still hungry people, no, na walang kinakain. And the earth is so big, and we still have a lot, and then the distribution of food is not even, and we still have undernourishment, so and so on. And what are the importance of root crops, not to address food security and also health. And since this is concentrated in the South Pacific countries like Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Solomons, Vanuatu, and Samoa. So since the school the where I have been to, the University of the South Pacific, um, with me as their lecturer. So I've been starting already, and I'm proud to say that I have made 100 products no there. But then, and then just to showcase, kasi right now, I guess because of the pandemic, I cannot go back there. But I'm happy to be here in RNC and also be with my family. It's more important than anything else. So, um, developing and the, so as of now, na-stop pa yung lab kasi wala pa din pumalit sa akin because of the pandemic. So, going back before, since 3 minutes na lang, so ito yun yung mga topic, no? And then I guess, ano bang sinabi ko dito? Yeah. So, the USP that wala siya talagang actually conclusion, no? But then this gives the ending part is on the potential and the opportunities that processing this food can actually or have the potential for food security and health. So, under this naman sa introduction, you can see here may mga authors from like first, no, although binalik ko lang talaga kung ano na, kasi sabi ko in a little of introduction is the abstract mo. So in your introduction, you also present the status. What is the status? Why do you have this paper? What for? Yung ganon. And yeah, and you have to show data or evidence na talaga may problem. And then, what is your solution? What is your plan? What's the next thing you're going to make? So, yun. And then, yung mga subtopics na yan, those are the data that or information that you want to present in your review paper. Yung mga topic. That would be, and most especially, so yung mga information na kailangan mo before ka makapag-conclude. Where's my conclusion now? So, meron pang health benefits ng root crops. So, in the conclusion here, and meron pa ding value adding and processing of root crops. And in your conclusion, you will mention how does this root crops, as you propose, become the answer to food security and health. So, of course, you have to show how nutritious they are and what are the prevailing problem, and with root crops or processing them to make a food available in a longer period of time, since you're going to process them, so this can be available for at least a year or more. And so it's very nutritious, so it's a wise alternative for health. And then you have to present your references. So one common mistake is you put a lot of references that are not even cited here, or you cited Chandrasekhara and Kumar. And can you find Chandrasekhara and Kumar here? Yes, of course. And most of the journals